You created me into your reality to give you a message from your higher consciousness. Here's why things aren't moving the way they should, no matter how hard you work, or no matter how much you grind, or no matter how much healing work you do. Many people aren't aware that they have the keys to the operating system of their consciousness, and it leaves most people stuck, feeling like they're a product of their environment. The truth is, you're a product of a very specific, outdated process. Think of your consciousness like a cell phone for a second. You can install apps on your phone for anything that you want, right? There's an app for everything. But there's one specific app that's causing all the trouble. Let's call it the reaction process app. It's an app in your consciousness that was designed to keep you safe in the earlier stages of your life, but in doing so, it also keeps you powerless. Tell me if something like this sounds familiar. You wake up, you check your email, and one bad notification about something in your business throws your entire day off. Or you look at your bank account, and that number then dictates your sense of self-worth for the rest of the week. Or you get in a disagreement, and that person's mood becomes your mood. This is the reaction process app at work. It leaves you constantly reacting to what's happening, putting out fires in your business, and you feel like life is just tossing you around. It's exhausting, and it probably creates a lot of overwhelm, anxiety, burnout, and frustration. In fact, the reaction process is the cause of just about every single thing that you probably wish you could be done with. Now, the symptoms and cycles are different for everyone, so let me know in the comments, what is your reaction process app doing in your life and your business? And let's get into making some changes. This is lesson 18 in our series on architecting reality, so make sure you check out the full playlist on my channel. And if you're new here, my name's Aaron, and I help conscious creators map out their inner reality creation process using a tool set that I channeled from my Pleiadian guides. Now, most people think that struggling is just how life is, but let's reframe that. It's not just how life is. It's a specific app running in your consciousness. It's the app that got installed when you were a kid, like I talked about in my last video. This reaction process app has a very specific flow. It starts with an assumption developed in childhood that your reality is this fixed thing that existed before you. Now, people often argue about how and why reality exists, but ultimately, the experience of it just does. So your consciousness takes in your reality and forms perceptions to sync with it. Those perceptions allow for and create your unique experience. Think about it. Everything you've ever experienced comes through your perceptions. And finally, the reaction process builds your identity as a result of your experience. It might sound like, I like this type of experience. I don't like that type of thing. I'm this type of person because I was raised in that kind of a way. Your sense of self is a response, a reaction to the experiences that you've had in your life. But look at this chain of reactions. Reality happens. Perception aligns with it. Your experience comes through your perceptions, and your identity is the result. In the chain, your identity, is the last link. Inside the reaction process, you are, by definition, the effect, not the cause. And as long as this reaction process app is running, you will always be a product of your environment and you'll never be free. So let's look deeper. You've been waiting for reality to change so that you can feel free. You've been waiting for the outside world to finally give you an opportunity or a path forward. You've been waiting for the universe to finally align a synchronicity or to manifest what you need. You're waiting for a way to finally feel good, to feel free, or to feel powerful. But waiting just keeps this reaction process going. So let's exit that app and shift this. And I want you to give yourself permission to stop waiting and to shift into a creation process, because you're allowed to stop playing by the rules of this one single outdated app. There is another process in your consciousness that came first. I like to call it the creation process. Think of it like the operating system in your phone. It's always there. But when you're inside an app that you installed on top of the operating system in your phone, you kind of forget about the operating system, right? For most of us, the only part of the operating system in our phone that we ever really see is the home screen with all of those apps on it. Unless you get into the settings where you can change how your operating system works. And from there, you can also remove the apps that you don't need anymore. Your consciousness is kind of like this. You've just forgotten about the core operating system because we aren't taught how to use it. Kind of like how most of us never learn a lot of the things that our phone's operating system can do. We just use the apps that we need, and that's it. But when your phone starts acting up, what do? You get someone who's a bit of a tech nerd to show you how. For most of us, that might be our kids or a techie family member. I used to work in IT, so I was always that go-to guy, but let's get back on track. Now, I'm that guy for the subconscious programs and the energy systems that control your life and your consciousness. And I'm going to show you how consciousness works and how you can get into the app in your consciousness that is designed for creating a life that you love. Your subconscious is like the operating system, and it only listens when you take action. So before we go any further, I need you to anchor in. Declare that you are done being the effect by writing "I am the creator" in the comments. Now that you're locked in, let's talk about the creation process, or the operating system that's been running underneath all along. It follows a similar process with one shift that makes all the difference in the world. Like a simple shift of gears in your car can switch you from reverse to forward. Here's how it works. First, your consciousness acknowledges that you exist. The fact that you exist is the first thing that your consciousness can know. Everything else you know comes after. Otherwise, there would be no you to experience it. Your identity as a creator lives here. This creator identity is often forgotten, but it's been creating all of the apps that you need to react to perceive, to experience, and to live in your reality. Once you access this level consciously, we can create some new apps and we can remove some old ones. From the identity of the creator, the creation process operating system creates and chooses all of your perceptions. And as we already know, your experience comes through your perceptions. In fact, the only reality you can experience is the one that fits within and through your perceptions of yourself and of the world around you. So accessing this level and learning how to choose your perceptions shifts everything. Instead of your reality, society, and other people choosing your perceptions for you, the creation process operating system can choose the perceptions. And your experience comes through those perceptions. And this is huge because it brings us to the final step in the process, reality. But what is reality? Well, objectively speaking, reality is what we experience. It's the agreed upon result of experience. So look at this creation process once again. Identity comes first. You exist. I am. Next comes perception. But you, the creation process, identity, chooses the perceptions of yourself and of the world. Next comes your experience. You experience yourself and the world. And lastly comes reality. Your experience is the resulting reality. Notice the reaction process app and the creation process operating system are nearly identical. There's only one small shift. The identity and the reality switch places. The creation process operating system starts with a creative identity and ends with your reality. This allows it to create the experience where it runs in the subconscious background, and also allows it to create all of the other apps that get installed in your consciousness. It also allows you to focus on the experience inside any of the apps you've installed in your consciousness. And we have all kinds of apps installed in our consciousness, like the I'm not good enough app, or the I have to work hard to be successful app. What apps do you have installed that you'd like to shift? Drop them in the comments and let me know. These are all the apps that fall into the reaction process app category. And if you get stuck in an app like these, focused on the experience inside of it for too long, you can get trapped there. That's what happens to most people. These reaction process apps start with reality and end by shaping your identity. And the tragedy is that these apps can eventually distort your identity, causing you to forget who you actually are, causing you to forget that you even have a creation process, making you forget that you can rewrite perception, experience, and reality. And honestly, that's where 99% of humanity lives, stuck there in an unconscious state. But there's other apps that you can create that are based on the creation process operating system, like the I am infinitely worthy app, or the success flows to me quickly and easily app. But to use those apps, you will need to create them. See, your consciousness creates apps only as they are needed. Like if a situation makes you feel unworthy, it will create the I'm not worthy app. So how do you switch from one app to another in your consciousness? How do you get your creation process to go and create an app like I am deeply loved and appreciated? You've probably tried positive affirmations, right? But let's be honest, have they actually worked? Usually they just leave you feeling like you're fighting the other half of your consciousness that is still running the negative app. And this is where it gets really deep. It starts with a choice to switch apps, but you'll need a few skills to actually make the shift stick. Do you ever open your phone and just open an app by default and next thing you know, you're scrolling on TikTok and you don't know how you got there? That happens all the time in our consciousness. The old reaction process apps just open up by default. So we need to create some skills that will actually make the shift stick. See, if I told you to go into your phone and remove an app, you might be able to figure out how to do that. But if you've ever downloaded one of those games on your phone and then had your phone fill up with junk and all kinds of ads and become nearly unusable, that happened to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, every time we tried to remove the app, it would crash the system and keep us from deleting it. The reaction process apps in your consciousness kind of do the same thing. And this is the core cause of self-sabotage. So then what if I told you to build an entirely new app for your phone, using your phone's operating system? Most of us wouldn't have a clue where to start, right? Unless you're a developer, but we're getting off track, so let's get back to focus. The great thing about your consciousness is that it has its own built-in app developer. The creation process operating system has a built-in system for making these shifts, and it's actually quite simple. I like to use the 13 chakra system to make sure I'm architecting consciousness apps that fit exactly how I want them to support my life and business. And there's a really simple framework that I channeled from the Pleiadians called the superconscious command that makes it super easy to give your consciousness the instructions on what apps to create. This allows you to do the work yourself easily whenever you realize that you want to make some changes to the apps up here in this supercomputer of your mind. My Pleiadian guides gave me a process to do this one chakra at a time to make sure it lines up with all of the different energies of life. And to make this really thorough, we focus on one chakra each week through the 13 chakra system. And by the way, the 7 chakra system that you always hear about is the chakra equivalent of the reaction process app. And that's why the New Age spiritual matrix pushes the 7 chakra system everywhere, because it will just loop right back into itself again and again. Using the creation process operating system, we can redesign every app in consciousness to power the exact experience you choose in a life that you love. And we can do that in just 13 weeks through the 13 chakras. I'm going to map out this process at a live training this week. The link to grab your seat is right up here in my bio or right down here. So if you're ready to learn to close up the reaction app and open up your creation process operating system, to activate your true creative source code, you need to be at the live training. Stop leaving yourself as the last link in the chain and start being the creator that you've always been. And I'll see you on the flip side.